Swerving. Heyo, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another Sur Ron adventure. Even though last video we were on the Sur Ron, I was too busy handing out donuts to cops, so I didn't really get to ride this. Anyways, it feels good to be back on the Sur Ron, and today we have actually got an awesome video for you guys. We are going to be talking about the 10 things that I hate about my Sur Ron. And later this week, I will be uploading 10 things that I love about my Sur Ron. I am making 2 videos this week because I am officially going back to Omaha to see my family next week. And while I'm actually back home, I don't know if I'm going to be making some content. So I wanted to double it up this week. Plus, these videos are pretty easy to make. So it'll be really easy for me to upload 2 videos this week. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get into today's video. We've got 10 things that I hate about my Sur Ron. The first thing, and this is technically about all Sur Rons, not just specifically mine, but the first thing that I hate about the Sur Rons is that it is so hard to find one. Oh man, woo! I love this thing so much, bro. But I remember when I was looking for a Sur Ron, it actually took me like a couple months, probably 2 max, to find one that I actually wanted. And I have to say, the one that I found, I did get lucky. I did have to drive a couple hours to find it, and I got pretty lucky on the price. What up, bro? That kid was staring at this bike, dude. But ever since we had like the pandemic and the recession and everything going on, it has been so incredibly hard to find a Sur Ron. Now there is one company that I do know that has them, but I'm not a big fan of them. You know, I'm not going to tell you guys the name of this company, but they do not really support the community. Their customer service is actually really bad, and that's kind of why I don't really want to promote them. But I think they have like an exclusive deal with Sur Ron, and they're like one of the only companies that are able to get their hands on these. But every time they do get a couple in stock, they are pretty much gone, at least within a week. Just move my screen up. But anyways, guys, that is reason number 1. They're really hard to find. All right, moving on to reason number 2. The second thing that I hate about Sur Rons is that they are expensive. But when I first saw it, I thought it would be around $2 grand. Turns out they're anywhere between $4,000 and $6,000. And sure, maybe for an electric bike, that's not very expensive, but I think to the average person, like $4,000 to $6,000 on a bike, it's a lot. But especially when you're nearing that $6,000 bike range, you know, you might as well just buy a motorcycle at that point, or you know, even another dirt bike. It could be expensive, it could not be. It depends on your opinion. In my opinion, I think they are a little expensive. Checking my notes. The third reason why I do not like my Sur Ron is because it's not like the strongest bike that you can get. This kind of goes off of reason number 2 because they are a little bit expensive, but they are not always the strongest. Now, don't get me wrong, the way I ride this thing, it is pretty hard, especially all the guys that I ride with. We stunt them, we jump them, you name it. And I have seen quite a few people break the pegs on these, and I've seen quite a few people dent the wheels, especially if you're jumping stairs or something. I don't know if the wheels can handle it. Now, these are aftermarket wheels. You can get aftermarket pegs. These are all things that are pretty much fixable as long as you start upgrading. But this is another reason that I wanted to add to the list. They're relatively strong bikes, but they're not the strongest. Moving on to reason number 4. The fourth reason why I do not like my Sur Ron is that the bolts come off of this thing so easily. Now, you could pretty much say this about a ton of bikes, but because there is so much vibration riding this thing, a lot of the bolts come loose. The video I literally made last week proves that, because my handlebar stem came loose, and that was only after a couple of weeks. I do a ton of wheelies on this thing. I'm always pulling up on the bars, so that's probably another factor as to why they came loose. But you do have to check those often. And not only that, Loctite has become one of my best friends. Trying something new today. I really want to go from the seat to the pegs like this, but we'll start off easy by getting the balance correct first. Now let's put it together. There we go. Back to the seat. Ah, dang it, bro. Already progress though, dude. Oh, this next one's a good one. Reason number 5. The 5th reason why I do not like Sur Rons is because they borderline being legal and not legal. These things are relatively new. so the regulations have not quite kept up with the electric bikes. But when you ride this thing in the regular mode, it's technically a legal e-bike, and then when you put it in sport mode, it's, you know, it's not really that legal. I don't have too many issues with the cops because they consider this an e-bike because it's quiet. They don't really care either. But as the community grows, as it gets bigger, I may run into issues down the road with cops being more strict about these. And let me also clarify, I'm not really like this e-bike legal expert. I don't know all the laws, and they're probably different in each state, but technically that's something I don't like because you still do have to worry about the laws. You never know. Warning, keep out. Peligro El Paso. I don't actually know how to read that, so I could be completely wrong, but I do want to see what's back here. I'm probably going to run into a bobcat like I did a couple videos ago. Doesn't look like there's much though. That's too bad. All right, moving on. Reason number 6. The 6th reason why I do not like my Sur Ron is because the brake pads go so fast. You know, I do stunt this bike all the time, so I am constantly on my rear brakes, but I literally have like a couple weeks with these brake pads and I already got to switch them out. Now I'm also used to the motorcycle game where I almost never have to change out my pads. They just last a really long time. So when I went from the motorcycles to this, that's why I probably feel that way. If you're coming from the mountain bike game, you know, maybe that's normal. I'm not super big with the whole mountain bike thing, so I wouldn't really know. But that is just a downside that I have from this bike. I hate having to change out my pads. It's super easy to do it, but like I hate having to buy pads all the time. I ended up just buying like 10 so I don't have to always buy them and wait for them. The 7th reason why I hate the Sur Ron is because of the charge time. Now technically it's really not even that bad. It takes 3 hours to charge your battery full. This one might take a little bit longer since this is the upgraded battery. I've actually never tested how long it takes, but we're just talking about stock. The stock battery takes 3 hours. Again, that's really not that bad, but after riding for like 3 or 4 hours and your battery's dead, you got to wait another 3 before you can get back on it. Again, I'm coming from the motorcycle world where you can just fill up your gas and you can keep going so you can ride all day. But on these things, that is not the case. That is the downside of having an e-bike. And even 3 hours is really not that bad. You'll probably really notice that if you ride more off-road. A lot of the stuff I do is on the street, so I don't really have to worry about the battery life like as much. But if you ride a lot of off-road or if you're doing like a bunch of hills, the battery's gonna die pretty quickly. You gotta wait 3 hours before you can fully charge it. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, but it would be nice if it was faster. And also you could pretty much say that about anything in the world that you have to charge, like even your phone. The 8th reason why I do not like Sur Rons is because you cannot park them anywhere without worrying about it getting stolen. Now I might just have PTSD because I have had multiple bikes stolen, as you guys know. And this bike is actually so light and so easy to steal that if you just leave it outside, I can almost guarantee that someone's gonna take it. Now I'm pretty sure Dallas has one of the highest theft rates, so that probably is another factor. But I hardly trust parking a motorcycle anywhere in Dallas, let alone parking this thing anywhere. So one thing that really sucks about this bike is you can take it anywhere, but unfortunately you cannot park it anywhere. If you're riding with friends, then they can just watch it for you, but that is definitely something that can be really annoying on this bike. But the 10th thing that I hate about this bike is the kickstand. The only reason I hate the kickstand is because I got the Supermoto tires. It shrunk the bike quite a bit, so this bike can tip over very easily, as you guys can tell. And I have dropped the bike a couple of times because of it. That's a pretty easy fix. They have other kickstands. I've just been too lazy to get one. So that's an easy fix. And to add to like another part that I was not a big fan of on this bike was the headlight. The stock headlight on this bike, it looks good from like an outside perspective. I remember riding my buddy Cole's. It looks really good on the outside, but when you're actually like riding it from the POV point of view, which is something I have to worry about when, you know, making videos, it just looks like really cheap on the front when I was riding it. So I just didn't enjoy the look. It's why I took off the headlight. It's why I still don't have a headlight, and you guys have been giving me for that for a very long time. Really haven't found one that I'm in love with, and the one that I do like, it's like $250, which I think is a little pricey for just a headlight. I'll probably end up pulling the trigger on that one anyway, but it is a little pricey. But regardless, it's kind of another stupid reason, but at the same time, it was hard to come up with 10 reasons today, so that's kind of where I'm at. I do have a couple of other small things that you can kind of consider on the list, like washing the bike can be kind of a pain. You got to be extra careful washing this thing, especially with the exposed wires and stuff. Now, as long as you're careful, it's not really something to worry about, but it can be a little annoying having to be extra careful washing it. So we'll make that like our 10.5 reason why I don't like the Sur Ron. But you guys, that is 10 reasons why I do not like the Sur Ron. I have to admit, this video was harder than I expected to make. only because it was so hard to come up with 10 reasons. And maybe if you guys are looking for a Sur Ron, debating on buying one or whatnot, this might have helped you guys make a decision. But to be honest with you guys, I really just love going on these little Sur Ron adventures, finding these cool paths, finding new places to ride. That's what this bike is all about. Yo, as cool as this is, it smells like shit. Like I said earlier, we will have the 10 things I love about my Sur Ron in the next video. That should be up here in just a couple of days. But I do want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.